So that right there is Eckville Shelter, where we stayed last night. Mr. Riley is right in front of me, and we are walking back now to the AT on the side trail that led to the shelter. I would have shown the inside of the shelter, but there were a couple other hikers still inside that I didn't want to disturb. So it is nice and bright today with lots of light, much different than when we arrived last night. Today is day number 86, Saturday, July 27th. And Riley and I got a good sleep last night, even though we got to bed so late. All right, so continuing on here. When I closed out yesterday's video, it was like 1:40 in the morning, and I said I would do a little more complete summary today when I had more time. Yeah, so it was a eventful night last night, starting with getting to the previous shelter, William Penn Shelter. We got there right about 9 o'clock, and like I said, we got water, but Riley almost ran away from me, and fortunately whatever he was chasing ran up a tree not too far away from me, and I was able to catch up to him because he ran right to the tree, and then he just looked up and didn't run any further. So I figured out how he broke the waist belt off of the hip belt off of my pack. Apparently the hip belt was fastened it wasn't fastened with like stitching or anything. It was fastened with a metal band, a thin metal band that goes like through the hip belt and then through some straps on my pack. And I still have the metal band on me, and the metal band just broke in one section, or it tore in one section. So Riley's quick burst just caused the metal band to tear, because it was so, I guess, so tightly wound or something. All right, so I think this is the AT now, and this is the direction north. Hopefully we see a white blaze soon. So I could have stayed at William Penn Shelter last night because it was already dark by the time we left, but I just felt like continuing on. My goal for the day yesterday was originally to get to 501 Shelter, and I just felt like, let's do it. Why not? Let's just put our heads down and hike. And we got, yeah, so the hike from William Penn Shelter, it started off very nice. It was the trail was not too rocky, and we didn't have much elevation change. But then like maybe a mile and a half before we got to 501 Shelter, Riley, this way, buddy. This way, big guy. This has to be the AT here. I haven't seen a white blaze in a little while here, but it's got to be the AT. I'm slightly concerned that this is not the AT, but Riley's getting his morning peas in. Not going very fast yet. Come on, Riley. Yeah, so when we got into the shelter last night, I knew that there was supposed to be a caretaker's house right next to the shelter, but it wasn't easy for me to find for some reason. All right, now we have 2 trails. I feel like I need to get my I don't understand. I'm gonna turn the camera off and get my Far Out app open and get ourselves on the right path here. All right, so I got my Far Out open now, and yeah, I made a wrong turn when I made the left turn earlier. It was one of the side trails that belongs to the 501 shelter, and I should have just kept going straight, apparently. And then I would have gotten back to the AT in a little bit. So I'm not sure if you can see what's on my phone here, but the red trail is the AT, and the blue trails are side trails relating to the 501 shelter. So we didn't get too far off track. That's good. Yeah, so last night when I got to the place where the side trail was, there wasn't like a sign that said 501 shelter, but I did see a blue blaze, and I figured it was the 501 shelter because we had just passed Riley. We gotta go this way. Yeah, so that goes to the parking lot, and we had just passed Pennsylvania Route 501. So anyway, so eventually we found our way to the shelter. When I got there, there were like 5 or 6 people sleeping in the shelter already. All right, and now this is the AT here. I see. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, so I did not... I'm gonna go out to the road here. I did not walk this section last night. I walked on a different trail. This is confusing. Confusing. Okay. Yeah, so last night I came out over there and I saw the parking lot, and I just went right to the parking lot, and there's a trail that leads right out of the parking lot, which I assumed was the AT, but I should have come here. I didn't see this AT sign here, so. I just want to, for my purist's sake, I just want to cross the road the way that I should have. Yeah, so we came out here last night, and then I just went that way, right to where the parking lot was. I saw the trailhead sign there, and I did not see that AT sign over there. But now I see it. It's very easy, much easier to see when it's light out. This is a busy road here. Riley, stop eating grass. Stop eating grass. Riley, Yeah, so there were like 5 or 6 people in the shelter last night, and initially I left, there were picnic tables outside the shelter. Riley, what are you doing? No grass, Riley. Come on. Come on, come on. Man, sorry for my, I feel like I'm just not making any sense. But I initially went in the shelter myself just to get familiarized with it. Well, I first actually tried to find the caretaker's house and I couldn't find it. And then eventually I was able to find it. It was actually really close to the shelter, but it was just not easy to find it in the dark. And I had Riley with me, and as soon as we got like to the front yard, I heard a dog start barking inside the caretaker's house. So the dog, are you okay, Riley? So the dog sensed that Riley was with me. I don't know why Riley's not letting me walk right now. All right, so I can turn my phone off here. So here's, yeah, we're on the AT now. We see the white blazes. And I guess we already passed the turnoff to get to the 501 shelter. But there was, back there was a sign for the shelter. But the reason I didn't see it last night is because I wasn't on the AT, I was on a different trail. Anyway. It makes sense in my head now. I'm not sure. I'm probably not explaining it very well. Anyway, so Riley and I eventually got settled in. When I heard the dog barking, I secured Riley to a tree. And then when I approached the house by myself, the dog was fine. Apparently the dog only barks when he senses another dog. Yes, Riley. What's up, man? What's up, man? Come on, buddy. So the main reason for me going to the shelter last night was to be able to access the charging stations, or the outlet, so I could charge my devices. And so I was definitely glad that I was able to do that. Riley stopped again. Are you gonna plop down? What do you want to do, Riley? I don't know what you're telling me, Riley. Are you telling me that you want to wait for those people back at the shelter? All right, I'm gonna try to walk, Riley. And so I plugged in my 2 power banks that I have. This was last night, about 1 a.m. probably, or a little after. And so those were able to charge all night long. And I think they finally got fully charged by the time we left, which was about 10:30 in the morning. I also was able to charge both of my rechargeable headlamps. They were both in need of charging. And then this morning I got up somewhat early, and I saw that my headlamps had fully charged, so I plugged in my Kindle and a couple GoPro batteries to charge. And by the time I left, the Kindle was up to 86%, and the GoPro batteries were, well, one of them was fully charged. The other one, I'm not sure how far it got charged, but it at least got a couple hours of charging in. and I wasn't even able to charge my phone. So even though I was able to charge all night long, I was able to get a lot of charging in, but I still wasn't able to completely charge all of my devices. So that just shows how helpful it is to be able to access the charging station for a full night, and how impossible a task it is to charge stuff if I can't charge stuff overnight. Like, it's just not reasonable to wait during the day for like 12 hours. That's like just not hiking during the day. All right, so I'm just rambling. I apologize. But it was a helpful stop last night. I don't feel as tired as I feel like I should for getting to bed so late. I did sleep in a bit this morning, and temperature feels good today, and it's nice to have the light again. And Riley's not really hiking right now very much. The two other hikers are I'm sure they're gonna pass us pretty soon. And when they do, Riley will probably be motivated to hike again. But I feel like he's kind of waiting on them right now. Come on, Riley. Come on. So we'll check in later. This trail is kind of rocky here. I mean, yeah, rocky in the sense that wherever you put your foot down, there's going to be rocks jabbing up into your feet. So I find this kind of section slightly annoying. I find it annoying. Yeah, I don't like it. But it is what it is. This is partly why Pennsylvania is called Rocksylvania. We'll get through it. Hello, Riley. Riley and I are taking a break here. I didn't get much to eat last night. I didn't have breakfast this morning. So I started to feel hungry pretty quickly. So I decided to find a break spot and give Riley some food and water, and also eat some food myself. So we're actually on a little side trail. The AT is down that way, and there's a side trail that just cuts through the AT. I decided we could have gone either way to get some space, and I decided to come a little bit uphill so that when we're done, we can go downhill back to the AT, as opposed to having to go back uphill to get back to the AT. Riley sees something. Anyway, so I got all my stuff laid out here. It's kind of a mess, but it feels good to get some food. We'll be wrapping up somewhat soon. Just wanted to expand a bit on a couple things I mentioned earlier. So the shelter, first of all, 501 shelter was really nice shelter. Really nice that it's just like an enclosed bunk room. It had a big skylight in the center, and it had the bunks like all the way around the perimeter, and it had a picnic table in the center. So in the morning, the skylight just lets so much light in. And it seemed really clean. I didn't see any mice issues or anything. And then the caretaker came in the morning, about 10 a.m. to say hi and clean up, do some, just check on things. And he was a real nice guy. Yeah, so really nice stay at the shelter last night. Also, this is my hip belt that broke off from my pack. So first of all, these two hip belt pockets, they already had developed holes in them, so I wasn't really using these pockets. But the way that I realized, I didn't realize this before, but the way that the hip belt attaches to my pack is that there's this strap here, which let me get my camera on my head, like so. Yeah, so there's this strap here that just inserts into this opening. And the idea is that this strap just inserts part this way, and then there's another opening on my pack where the rest of this this strip is able to insert through. And then the only thing that's holding the hip belt to my pack is this strip, for lack of a better term. And and so when Riley was attached with his leash clipped inside here last night, and this was still attached to my pack with this strip just being what was holding it in place. And when Riley bolted, this strip, as you can see, it just got this tear in it right here. And so as a result, this tear allowed this part of the strap to slide through whatever it was inserted in the pack. So nothing like broke in terms of the fabric on the pack, as far as I can tell. The fabric seems to be in good condition. It's just this strip, and this is not a metal strip. This is I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's definitely not metal. So that's my post-mortem on how Riley busted through being attached to my pack. His force was able to break whatever the strip is made out of. So that's that. And anything else, Riley? Shelter was nice. That's how this strip, that's how the hip belt broke off. Also, I showed a quote last night that was written on a log from Commissioner, who said, "Here I sat listening to here I heard the sound of a submarine." And I just showed that because when Riley and I were walking or hiking to the 501 shelter last night, we initially had 4.1 miles to go from the William Penn shelter, and we hiked pretty much straight through, but we did take a break. We took one break, and I wanted to rest my shoulders and check my phone to see where we were at, and it turned out that we were 1.5 miles away at that point, so we had gone 2.6 miles. And as I was getting up to leave, I noticed something was written on this log, and that quote that I showed in the camera last night from Commissioner just happened to be written there. And Commissioner is a guy, I never showed him on camera, but I had met him earlier in the hike, and I think the last time I saw him was around Woods Hole Hostel. But I had talked with him for a bit and was kind of friends with him. But he's ahead of us now by a good bit. He's just been hiking faster than us. But I just thought it was cool that I just happened to take a break in the exact spot where he must have taken a break maybe a week ago or so, or whenever he passed through, and he just, for whatever reason, decided to write a note there. And in the total darkness, I could have easily, even though I took a break in the same spot, I could have easily missed it because it was so dark last night. But I just happened to notice it. I just thought that was cool. That I just happened to decide to take a break in the exact spot where he left a note, and I saw the note, and I'd met him earlier on trail. And then I was thinking, well, what are the chances of that? And then my next thought was, well, if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't even have thought to ask the question, what are the chances of that? So the chances are probably pretty low, but if I hadn't seen it, which was much more likely than me seeing it, then I wouldn't have even new to think about what the chances are, you know, how low the chances were of seeing his note. So I thought that was cool. So that's why I showed it on camera last night. And yeah, that's all for now. I'm gonna eat a little more food and then we're gonna get going again. My goal for today is to get somewhere close to 15 miles, but hopefully not have to hike into the night again. I'd like to be able to stop the day by 9 p.m. today. Maybe a little bit after, but I definitely don't want a repeat of hiking till close to midnight or after, like last night. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Bye for now. Van Gogh and Riley here, and we've just been hiking along, and we passed a little commemoration here. So it says, in appreciation of Honorable William F. Smanneman, President, Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club, 1934. Very good. So I know a little more about the Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club after having stayed at the 501 shelter last night. 501 shelter is actually maintained by the Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club, and they had some informational posters on the walls, and I read one of them that talked about the history of it, and apparently it was a club that was founded in the early 1900s. Riley is messing up the 1200 sign. Riley, don't walk all over the rocks. Oh my goodness. All right, I need to fix this. Oh, Riley! So I was talking earlier and then I cut my phone off because I saw some other people hanging out at the overlook. And then no, Riley, no, come on, man. Come on. Oh my goodness. Riley, can you move? Can you move? Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Riley, what are you doing? This is ridiculous, Riley. Riley, come on, dude. Come on. Come on. All right, what I need to do is secure you to a tree, like over here. Riley, come on, buddy. Come on, Riley. Over here, buddy. Where am I gonna go? Come here, Riley. Come here. I feel like I get annoyed with Riley more frequently when the camera is on compared to when the camera is off, just because when the camera is on, there's like, I'm often like holding it in my hand, and there's just more stuff for me to, man, you really ruined this sign, Riley. Look at all the work I have to do. All right, so this is just a 1, right? And then this is a 1200. Something like that, right? How's that? 1200? Not too bad. All right, there we go. I think that's okay. Okay. That's reasonable, Riley. All right, so hello, Riley. Congratulations, Riley. 1,200 miles. We have less than 1,000 to go, since the trail is officially 2,197.4 miles. So that means we have 997.4 to go. All right, so what was I saying earlier before I shut my phone off? I was talking about the Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club and what I read about it in the 501 shelter last night. Yeah, so apparently the club was founded in the early 1900s, and the story is that this guy who was he liked hiking. He saw this eagle's nest up on this mountain that was called Blue Mountain, and so he invited a group of his friends to go check out this eagle's nest on Blue Mountain. And we're actually hiking towards that area. No, Riley, get away from the sign, buddy. He had yeah, so he invited a group of his friends to go check out this eagle's nest, and we're hiking towards that area right now. And they actually have a shelter in that area called Eagle's Nest Shelter. And Riley and I might be able to get near there. I don't think we're gonna stay there tonight. For one thing, it's 0.3 off the trail, but we might get near there by the end of the day today. Anyway, so eventually this group of friends that this guy, I think the guy's name was Dr. William Rentschler or Renshaller. And they formed this hiking club called the Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club. And then when the Appalachian Trail was being formed in the 1930s or so, this climbing club was given responsibility for about 100 or so miles, or like basically securing or coming up with a route for approximately 100 or so miles of the Appalachian Trail in this area. And it's just been an active hiking club and climbing club and camping club ever since. And they've gone on to maintain the trails in this area, I believe, and maintain several of the shelters. And part of that responsibility or that activity involves maintaining the 501 shelter, as well as a shelter called the Eckville shelter, which is about 35 miles north of here, I think. And those two shelters, 501 shelter and Eckville shelter, they treat uniquely in that they have a caretaker that has full-time responsibility, or at least part-time responsibility, for maintaining the shelter. And they're generally nicer shelters in that they have like a shower and charging station and indoor enclosed sleeping area. Anyway, so that's a little history on the Blue Mountain Eagle Climbing Club. Riley keeps urinating. Hopefully that means he's well hydrated. Also, that girl that I mentioned yesterday who got stung by a bee shortly after Riley got stung by a bee. She caught up to us earlier, just a short while earlier. She's a little bit behind us right now because she stopped to take a break. But she caught up to us a short while earlier, and I actually have met her previously. She was hiking with a guy named Juju, who I've met previously, and I had hiked with them for a short while. Shortly after the Shenandoahs, but before we got to Harper's Ferry, kind of around the Front Royal area. And when I saw her yesterday, since she caught up to us and hiked on so quickly, I didn't recognize her. But then, since she stopped to take a break just a short while ago when she caught up to us, she reminded me of her trail name, and it's Fairy Light. And that allowed me to place her in my sequence of memories so far on the AT. She's friends with Juju. Juju is a guy that I hiked with. I first met around Marion, then didn't see for a while. And then we hiked together the day that I got into Harper's Ferry. We hiked it together for a while and had a good conversation and got to know each other. And she's friends with Juju, and they apparently hiked a good bit earlier in the trail, but they've split up just because Juju wants to go at a faster pace. But I thought it was cool when she said her name, and I'm like, oh, I actually already met you. And for some reason just didn't remember, but now I will remember. So Riley and I have taken 2 breaks so far today. We took that first break because I was really hungry, and so I stopped to give Riley some food and water, and I ate a lot of food myself. Then we took another break a little while after, and I was just feeling tired. And I took a nap. I'm guessing the break was maybe like 30 to 45 minutes. And I got a good nap in. And now we're hiking again. So I don't want a repeat of yesterday where we just started to take so many breaks, and then all of a sudden it's getting dark and we're not where we want to be for the day. So I'm perfectly fine with taking breaks, but I want to try to limit them to breaks that are really necessary breaks. And if we're feeling okay to hike, I want to just try to keep on hiking, even if it's at a slow pace. And that should allow us to, hopefully it should allow us to avoid me feeling the desire to do a lot of night hiking. I don't want to say the need to do a lot of night hiking, because nobody's forcing us to do this night hiking. Last night I could have just stopped at William Penn Shelter for the night, but that's not where I wanted to stop. I wanted to get further. So what I want to do is get close to where I'll feel good about getting for the day, but do it in a time frame such that we don't have to hike late into the night to do it. So hopefully by limiting our breaks a little bit more than yesterday, we can be successful in that goal. So seems to make sense, seems to be logical, and we'll see by the end of the day where it gets us. The terrain is definitely rocky. It's like with each step there's a rock jabbing up into the sole of my shoe. Riley's looking back for Fairy Lake. He's gonna sit down. Yes. Oh, Riley, there's another 1,200 mile marker there. I didn't even see it. You're not gonna mess this one up, are you? Look at that. What a beautiful 1,200 mile marker. That must be the real one, because that is more impressive than the previous one. So there's a hiker that we have been crisscrossing paths with who just got to his destination for tonight. There's a campsite here, and he just walked down that way to get some water. But Riley and I are gonna hike on because it's a little too early for us to stop. But Riley is like, oh no, we gotta go follow that guy. So there's a cool little historical marker here. Riley, hey, let's check out the historical marker. It says 1755, site of Fort Dietrich Snyder, a lookout post to warn of the approach of enemies in the French and Indian War. The Historical Society of Berks County. So we're in Berks County, PA right now. Walking the AT is a history lesson. Riley, are you gonna let us walk? So I think we've walked 8.8 miles today so far. So we're making progress. We're making progress. My pack feels kind of heavy. I know, Riley. I know. Oh, Riley. Time? What is the time? I think it's like, I would guess it's like 6:30, maybe close to 7. It's getting close to stopping time, Riley. So when the guy, the other hiker's name is Gravy, and he told me his age. He's 70 years old, but he's in good shape. He said he hiked 20 miles today. He was not sure which way to go to get to the spring, and then I was like, oh, there's a sign right there. It says spring, but it doesn't tell you which way to go. And that sign is much higher than most signs are on the AT. And then I was like, oh, there's a blue blaze right in that tree over there. And so that's the way to go for the water. I'm not sure where that trail leads, but I think there's more hikers coming here. So I'm gonna shut the camera off, and hopefully Riley will let me hike on, and we will check in later. All right, it is that time of day again. Riley and I are in our tent now. It is, just want to close out the day, so it is day number 86, Saturday, July 27th. And we made it to, first of all, it is 11:18 p.m. now. We've been in our tent for about 20 minutes and did some night hiking. I used Far Out to kind of plan where I wanted to shoot for. A few miles back there was a really good campsite that we could have stayed at, but there was a Far Out comment saying that there were other campsites like just 0.6 of a mile beyond. So I decided to, and this was around like 9 p.m. So it was already dark at this point. So I bypassed a really nice campsite, based on a Far Out comment that said there were some good campsites about 0.6 of a mile north. And I did find some land that I could have set up our tent on, but it was like 0.1 of a mile before where the comment said it was. So I continued on to try to look for the sites that the comment was specifically referring to at the specific location, and I didn't see any good options. So at that point, we just continued to hike on, but we didn't have to hike that much further because I knew that there was this campsite that we're at, just about a mile further on trail. So yeah, so we continued on, and the campsite that we're at, it's not actually right on the AT. It's on off of a side trail called Sand Spring Trail, and there's supposed to be a spring 200 yards down Sand Spring Trail, and then there's a campsite next to the spring. And it turns out that the spring is completely dry. There's no water here. That's okay for us for tonight because I had filled up earlier in the day, expecting that there wasn't going to be any water until at least this point. And so I have over 3 liters, or about 3 liters on us, so that's plenty for tonight. Also, the trail coming down here was like off the AT just to get to this campsite was about 0.2 of a mile and pretty rocky, pretty like more challenging than I would like. So I'm not looking forward to hiking back up tomorrow morning to get back to the AT. Alternatively, we could have hiked another 0.7 of a mile, bypassing this campsite completely and just gone to the Eagle's Nest shelter area, which we could have set up our tent there as well, but I didn't realize how rocky the side trail was going to be. But regardless, we're here. We're in our tent. We're all alone. We have total privacy. So we're going to have a good night here. The trail overall is, I would say it's difficult. Just lots of rocky stretches. The elevation change is not bad at all. We did a lot of flat walking. We had some hills today, but mostly level ground. And just a mix of rocky terrain and somewhat pleasant terrain, but I would say the majority was rocky terrain. So we're just taking it step by step. Riley's doing very well, but I'm finding it kind of annoying. Just all the rocks. So Rocksylvania, I guess, is living up to its name. So we're about, once we get back to the AT, we're about 9.5 miles away from the town of Port Clinton. And to get there, the elevation profile looks relatively flat. But I'm sure the terrain is gonna be most likely rocky. So it's not gonna be easy. But in Port Clinton, we should get there tomorrow. There is a hotel there that's not too far of a walk that we might stop at to get some food. I think they have. I hear they provide large portion sizes, which is appealing to me, and yeah, so that's a possibility. And there's also this candy shop called the Port Clinton Peanut Shop, I believe. And I remember going to this. I went to this town on my last hike, and I did stop by the peanut shop and looked around, and they have lots of different. It's a pretty cool candy shop. They have lots of different selections, lots of different variety of different candies. And I didn't get anything last time in 2018, but I'm pretty tempted to make some purchases this time, assuming we get there when they're still open. But that's for tomorrow. It's getting late, so Riley and I are gonna. Riley's already asleep. I'm gonna give him his dinner, and I'm gonna eat something myself, and then I'm gonna do some reading, and then I'm gonna go to bed. I didn't mention the mileage or the anything about the mileage. So we're at mile 1210.9, I believe, and we hiked 14.2 miles today. So that is all for now. Hope you're doing well, and we will check in tomorrow. Okay, bye for now.